Hey out there, legal warriors, do you have to turn yourself into the police? That's a question we get a lot in my law firm. And if you're interested in whether or not you need to turn yourself into the police when they want you to, stay tuned because this is the video for you. My name is Lance Fryrear. I'm a defense attorney in Linwood, Washington. My law firm's been defending people charged with crimes for more than 20 years. And I'm putting out these videos to help the public. So if you find this interesting, please like and please subscribe. And now I'm just going to jump right into it. Do you have to turn yourself into the police? If you get a phone call, if you hear they're looking for you, what are your obligations? And this came up recently in my practice, and so I thought I'd put out a video about it. And for the most part, the answer is no. We have no obligation to go help the police officers arrest us. We have no obligation to turn ourselves in. That's their job if they want to try to find us. And there's a lot of reasons why you might want to not turn yourself in if an officer tells you to. And there's some reasons where you might want to turn yourself in. And I'm going to cover those here. And the main thing you want to think about is, have I missed a court date? Then there's a warrant for my arrest, okay? And if I've missed a court date and there's a warrant for my arrest, you're probably not going to get a call from a police officer. There you have an option to either turn yourself in or get a bonding company to post a bail, or post the bail or bond yourself. And we have a video about what bail is, and hopefully it's going to be put right here. But that's mainly not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is probable cause. So when an officer gets a report of a crime and there's not a case charged yet, an officer has some options, okay? The officer for non-felony charges oftentimes can write their own ticket into the court, but sometimes they might feel like arresting somebody, either because they want there to be an arrest record or they're just sort of, pissed off about the case. And that's what I want to cover here. So let's say you get a phone call and an officer says, hey, I've got probable cause to arrest you for, reckless driving or assault or something like that. Let's make it easy. Turn yourself in at a certain time and I'm going to book you and release you. Well, that sounds great, Lance. If he's going to book me and release me, why wouldn't I just want to do that? Well, one reason you might not want to do that is that your official criminal history in this state, in Washington State, is maintained by the Washington State Patrol. And they pretty much go off of fingerprints when you get arrested or conviction notices from courts. So if it's a misdemeanor offense and you're being told to turn yourself in, if you do turn yourself in, you're going to have an arrest record for whatever it was, assault or reckless driving or malicious mischief or whatever. And we may not want you to have that arrest record because let's say you don't turn yourself in and the officer looks for you for a while and then gives up and files the crime himself into court or gives it to his or her prosecutor to file the crime. Well, now you're going to get a summons in the mail and there's nothing on your arrest record because you weren't arrested. If we beat that charge, if we get it reduced or dismissed, your state patrol record will stay clean. So if you went and made that officer's life easy by turning yourself in, you've just hurt yourself forevermore on your arrest record. And let me tell you, prosecutors, and I think police officers also, don't understand what an arrest record can do to you. I was a prosecutor for 7 years and I didn't really understand it myself until now. I've had thousands and thousands and thousands of clients over the last 20 years where I get asked questions every month about why does this show up on my record? Why does this not? And it all starts with an arrest record. So let's say you choose not to make the officer's life easy by turning yourself in. What's the downside? Well, the downside is the officer might go find you. They might find you at your work, or they might come to your home and try to arrest you there. They might do a book and hold type situation where now you might have to post bail to get out. And so it's not for everybody. Some people want to go in and sort of control the scene and not get embarrassed somewhere else. But for the most part, I like to encourage people to think about what the options are before just turning oneself into the police. Another thing that can happen in these type of cases, I've had cases like this where you might be on your way to go talk to a police officer about something that they've contacted you about, wanting to clear your name. Bad idea. And let's say you get a hold of an attorney and the attorney tells you, yeah, don't do that. Come to me, come to my office. And we let the officer know that, hey, Mr. Client's not going to come see you, officer. Well, I've had cases where the officer will say, well, I'm going to arrest this person, turn that person around, send them to me right now. Send them to me right now. And I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. And I've had cases where we did not do that and no charges were ever filed. And obviously, if you got arrested, you were stuck without an arrest record and you're more likely to be charged. So something to think about if you're being contacted and told to turn yourself in. There are other situations that can arise. Sometimes if it's a major felony, it might be a better idea to cooperate in some situations because the officer's probably not going to give up if it's a major crime. And that's something you want to think about, and you should probably reach out to an attorney to try to figure out what the best thing to do is. Another misconception out there, I can't tell you how many times a potential client calls or just someone interested who has a problem says, hey, the officer said they're going to put a warrant out for my arrest if I don't do X, Y, or Z. While it's possible, there is such a thing as trying to go through a prosecutor to get a warrant for someone's arrest. It's basically bogus. Okay, it's just not what happens. An officer doesn't go get a warrant in almost every case. An officer without a filed charge, an officer has probable cause in their head, reason to arrest somebody, and then they can go find that person and arrest them. It's not some type of warrant thing. And why it makes a difference is you hear warrant, you think, oh my goodness, there's a warrant, which means if I'm driving down the road and I get pulled over for speeding, this officer in Tacoma is going to see that I have a warrant from this officer up in Lake Stevens. Well, if there was really a warrant, that would be the case, and that Tacoma officer would arrest you. This is just an example. But in most cases, in almost all cases, there is not a warrant unless there's been a filed charge and a missed court date. Okay, there are exceptions. You want to talk to an attorney, but just be aware that some of that language that officers choose to use, in my opinion, is not accurate and also creates some false urgency for the person that they're trying to arrest. And can't blame the officers for doing that. But when determining what's best for you, these are things you want to keep in mind. So I hope you found this useful. Again, this covers just some situations, not all situations anywhere near it. Every case is unique. So if you happen to have this type of problem or someone you know does, feel free to give my office a call. Again, my name is Lance Fryrear. I have a law firm in Linwood, Washington. We've been defending people charged with crimes for more than 20 years. If you reach out to us, we'll probably have heard of your situation before. We'll see if we're a good match to try to help. And if it makes sense, we'll get on board and get in front of this for you, and we'll be there for you. Thank you.